Hello, today we're going to try the tool for concurrency, which is called Akka. So Akka is a powerful toolkit and runtime for building highly concurrent, distributed, and fault-tolerant system. So basically, Akka was created from Scala, but we can also use it in Java. But then before we start with our sample program, we need to discuss some terms to familiarize ourselves with Akka. So the first one is actor. So actor is a fundamental unit of computation in Akka. It's actually the building block for building a concurrent application in Akka. So since this is a concurrent application, actor has its own state and behavior and processes messages asynchronously. Then we also have the term actor system, which is the entry point and the one who manage actors. So it provides resources such as thread pool for actor to execute their tasks. Then we have the actor ref. So actor ref is just a reference to an actor instance. We'll be able to see this one later in our example. Then the props. So props, as the name suggests, it's just a configuration class used to specify additional arguments on how we create the actor instances. Okay, so let's start with our sample application. So I went ahead already to create our project, which is on Start Spring IO. Basically, it's a Spring Boot application and with a single dependency, which is the Spring Web. Okay, so currently the controller, we just have the fire and forget and the request response endpoint with no implementation yet. And we're going to create this behavior one by one. So let's start with fire and forget. So as the name implies, it's a behavior that allows us to send a request to this Akka system and then just process the request without returning anything. So let's start implementing our Akka behavior. So extends abstract behavior, which we're going to accept as string. Then since it's extended the abstract behavior, it requires us to implement a certain method. So let's just implement it for now. Then create a matching constructor which accept actually an actor context. Okay, then we need to create a static method that returns the behavior. So create, and then this one is just behaviors. This one, make sure that you're going to use the Java DSL actor type. Setup, and then the name of the class, fire and forget, which is creating a new instance. Okay, then we need to implement the create receive method. So what will happen is when we request this system, actor system, it will trigger this create receive method. New receive method build, and then what will we accept? As an example, we'll just receive any message, then we'll just display it. So from in this method, you can do anything that you want in the context of your requirement. So we'll just say receive the message, and then make sure to do this, return this. Alright, so we already implemented our fire and forget implementation of the Akka. So let's go to our controller. Let's implement here. So actor system, which is string. So actor system create. We need to create the class that we created, the behavior class. Then call the create a static method, and then we just need a 4-second parameter, the name of our actor system. Okay, let's check first. Does not have type parameter, so that we'll understand why there's an issue. Okay, so this one. So we should be using Akka actor type, not the Akka actor. Okay, then system.tell. Then we'll just pass the message here that we have on our parameter. Okay, so let's test this out. Run our application. Okay, our service is up at port 8080. And then we're going to hit this endpoint, fire and forget, with a request parameter message. So curl http localhost 8080 fire and forget message equals to say hello Akka. Okay, so let's clear this console so that we're going to see if this method is hit. Okay, so we're actually able to see this message which we sys out. So this is how fire and forget works. So let's work with our next example, which is a request response. Let's start working with our request response functionality. So first we need to create two DTO, that is the request message and the response message. So what is on the request message? So on the request message we could specify the message that we are going to send, and then the reference, the actor ref of the response, which is in this case, we need to change this one. Actor ref, we name it response message reply to. Okay, then based from these two property we can create a constructor. The easiest thing to do is right click on your IDE, generate, and then constructor, and then just select the two property. Right, then we can annotate this as data so that we could actually get the message, and the actor ref later. Then let's go to the response message. So again, let's use Lombok data. And from this class, we need to declare the message that we are going to receive. So in this case, we'll just name it message, and then say declare your constructor. Again, you can do right click, or you can do something like this. Okay, then from here, this dot message. Okay, all right. So let's now go to the behavior class. So in our project itself, we already created the request response class. So we're going to implement here our functionality. So again, it's abstract behavior from the Java DSL type, and then the request object, which is request message. Then from here, we can create our constructor, request response dot accept actor context of actor type Java DSL. Then our parameter, which is using the request message. Then here, we just need to use the super, passing the context to the super class. Then again, same, create the static behavior method, behavior, which is the request message, and then naming our method as create, and then this one return a behaviors, which is in type Java DSL setup, which is the request. We need to instantiate this class. Right. Then let's implement the required method, which is the receive. Okay, so receive message return a new receive builder. Then let's put the build here, and then on message, which is the message type, is we're going to listen to the request message class. Okay, and this request again, the on message should always return the this. Then here, so maybe we can first do a sysout, and then request response. This one is just for our logging, so that we'll see what message was passed to our method. And then from here, the request itself, we could get the reply, which is the response message that we have created, and then we tell it. So new response message. Okay, so let's check first our response message. So we don't, okay, we have a constructor that requires a single parameter. So we could say responded with, then we'll just return back the message. Right. So let's implement this on our controller, which is the request response endpoint. Okay, so again, the steps are the same: create an actor system, create an actor, but in this case, we're going to create the ref to the request message, and then instead of tell is a fire and forget functionality where you're not expecting any return, but if you're expecting a return, use the as. So as you will see later. So actor system here, this is void the system actor system that create this one is empty, and then the name, so request response, so this is just a name. And then here we have the actor ref, the request message. So we're going to create a request handler from the system itself, system actor of, which is the request response dot create. So we're going to create an instance of this request response class, and then the name, let's just name it request handler, and the last parameter is prop, but we're not passing anything, so let's just specify prop empty. Okay, then to call the as, we use the as pattern from the type Java DSL. So as, so request handler, then we need to do the function or the lambda itself, which is in this case the new request message, and then passing in the message, which is this one, and then the request handler object itself, which is in this case the reply to, which is a variable here. Then since this is a threaded application and we're not doing any callback, let's just do a simple delay, duration of millis, say half millisecond, and then we'll use the scheduler of the actor system. Okay, so then this as pattern method returns a completion stage, which in our case we're expecting that it will return a response message. So response, let's complete that one. All right, then we'll just return the response itself. But in this case, because the response is completion stage, so we update this one to be completion stage, and then it should return our object, which is response message. Okay, all right, so let's test this out. All right, our service is running, so let's test this out. So let's clear the console first, and then let's test the first functionality, which is fire and forget. Say hello Akka. Okay, so we receive the parameter hello, the message hello Akka, and then we just log it out on our method here, this one. So let's test the request response. So we're expecting that it will log first the request response, and then it will respond a message with the message responded with and the a message that we pass. Request response message hello Akka. Okay, so if you see in the console, it has a request response log, and then on our curl message it returned the object with key message and value responded with hello Akka. So that's it. This is an introduction to Akka system. If you want to know more about Akka, you can go to their site akka.io. Happy coding!